not doing an introduction for this video. I just want to dive right into this. So I posted a video yesterday with black men coming on and giving their unfiltered opinions, preferences, and their truths, because I feel every individual that walks this earth has their truth, which comes from their experience. And you know, I made a community tab post and I was reading the feedback that I was getting because I was confused. I'm like, are we as black women, are we wanting what is best for us and the true essence of what that means? Meaning, we don't care who it comes from. If the treatment is good, that's all we care about. Or are we caring about it differently? Are we going to be prejudiced to people based off of our past trauma, our past experiences? Are we going to clock people because of what was done to us in our past? Are we going to project the trauma from our past onto new people that we meet? Being a black woman means that you literally have to defend yourself from everybody. White men, white women, black men, black women, Asian men, Asian women, and so forth. There's no true refuge in any social group that I know of for us as black women. But I've came to the understanding that we should really be able to depend on each other. But not only that, we should go where we are loved, protected, appreciated. If that's what a man that happens to be purple, green, yellow, blue, so be it. If that happens to be with a woman, so be it. If that happens to be with a trans man, so be it. I'm at a point where I just don't care, because if they are for me, I'm going to be for them. If they are for me, I'm going with them. If they are for me being protected, I'm going with them. But I also had to understand that based off of the video that I posted yesterday, that a lot of you guys are in traumatizing mentalities because you haven't healed from the trauma that you've gone through. And it was something that I had to realize, because as an influencer, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to do this because we think of all the incredible things, right? But as a creator, sometimes we don't think about, well, maybe this person's not going to take it that way because of where they are in life. So when I made the original post to my YouTube channel with the black men, I knew I had to come correct. Okay, I will say that. I knew I had to come correct. I knew I couldn't just bring any old body on my platform and do that style of video and that kind of content, because I knew if I'm going to be out here encouraging women to level up, right, and go where you are loved and where you are appreciated, I have to bring men like that to my platform. I can't just bring any old body. So I knew that going into the live, I had no intentions of posting this video to my YouTube channel, because I don't know, I just decided to go live on Instagram because I know in the past I've done it and people loved it. So I did it again. But this type of content was something that I wanted to bring to my YouTube channel platform, but I knew that, you know, it would be risky because there is a different community on YouTube versus Instagram. And we could even go as far as there's a different community versus YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and Snapchat, and so forth, and even TikTok. There's a different community for everyone. So when it comes to those platforms, so honestly, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna take the videos, 3 lives that I did that were each an hour long, chop them up, edit them up, and post them to my YouTube channel and see how my following reacts, if they like it, if they don't like it, and so forth. I did put in my title triggering, because I wanted to warn people that if you're not in a place of healing, if you're not in a place that can handle the conversation that took place in the video, I didn't feel like that was something that you needed to subject yourself to knowingly. I knew that some of the things that were said in the video could be triggering for someone. I used to be fat. So the black man in the video made a comment about fupas. I didn't like what he said. I didn't even agree with what he said, but it was his truth. It was his preference. And when I went live with them, I told them, I said, hey, this is a space for you to speak freely on how you truly feel. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to rebuttal any of the things that you're saying, because it's what you want. It's your preference. It's your truth. It's your opinion. And I allowed them to speak freely. I didn't think nothing of it. You know, I'm an Aries. I love straightforwardness. I love honesty. I don't care if it hurts my feelings or not. If it's true, I want it. I want some of that. And it's true. I will never steer away from honesty, because it's something that I truly love. You may even hurt my feelings temporarily, but hey, if it was true, I'm all ears. I may even be mad at you for an hour or so, but I'll come to my senses. I'll look back, reflect on the situation or what was said or done. And if it was pure honesty, all I can do is respect it. But also, with honesty, it allows people to choose. It allows people to choose what they want, what they don't want, what they want to tolerate, what they don't want to tolerate. So I'm all for that. But in the midst of all of this, right, I went to my community tab and I read the comments, because you guys are teaching me things. And honestly, it made me realize that just because I'm in a healing space, just because I'm on a healing journey, doesn't mean you are. Just because I'm in a space to be open-minded doesn't mean you are. Just because I want honesty and truth doesn't mean you do. Just because I'm okay and I'm open to dating black men doesn't mean you are. And my whole reasoning behind why I say things like, you know, judge a man based off of his character, not off of his appearance, is because of a lot of the things that I've gone through. I mean, a lot of my content comes from experiences. A lot of you guys don't know, and a lot of you guys are new to my platform, but I was sexually assaulted by a white man. And this happened in 2016. This is when I was let go from my job, my 9-to-5 job. And I was reaching out to these programs that the city that I live in offers. Came across this mentorship program that my mom introduced me to. I reached out to the program people, the people that were over it, and I said, hey, can you find me a mentor? And they send you to someone based off of your needs. So you have to fill out a questionnaire. You have to answer a series of questions, and then they will put you with who they feel you should go to or go with. So the program that I entered, they put me with this man who happened to be white, who was a lawyer. And at the time, I was so desperate, you guys, that I was like, oh, I gotta make this work. I gotta make this work. You know, I don't have my 9-to-5 job anymore. I have to make this work because I don't have nothing else to fall back on. I have to make this work. This is how I transitioned from 9-to-5 to entrepreneur. I do so much. I can't be like, oh, I just do this one thing. No, I do a lot of things. And right now I'm also transitioning in from doing a lot of things to mastering one thing, right? So I'm coming out with my website, and I want to master the feminine yoni. So that's going to be my focus moving forward. But at the time, I was a hustler. I'm out here doing everything. I'm out here going where the money is. So I'm like, oh, I need this to work out. So this man, I mean, he would make sexual comments, but I would brush it off because I was desperate. I'm like, oh, this has to work for me. I don't know how to set up a business. At the time, I didn't even know how to register a business. At the time, I didn't even know anything about business taxes, how to get tax breaks when it comes to your business. This lawyer, this mentor at the time that I was looking to, was someone that I desperately needed because he was a resource to me, but it came with a cost. And if I would have known that what I was really subjecting myself to, I wouldn't have reached out. I wouldn't have looked to him as a resource. But see, at the time, I was in a bitter place. I had a lot of bitterness for black men. And the reason why I had so much bitterness was because everything I had gone through up until this particular experience, it made me hate them. I can say that. It made me hate them. It made me hate them. And I was bitter for years because I also had a sexual assault incident with a black man in college. It was the real reason I dropped out of school. A lot of people don't even know that. You know, it was like I was already going through a lot, and then all of a sudden that situation happened and it broke me. So I dropped out. And I remember moving back home, my parents giving me a hard time, and I never told them the real reason because I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I was confused because I didn't think my life was going to go that way. You know, when you groom yourself to carry yourself a certain way, I was a virgin, I was this, and you know, I did all the righteous things, and that happened to me. I was confused. I asked God, I said, why? So now, you know, fast forward to 2020, looking over the things that I've gone through, and when you know, as a kid, I dealt with racism from white people, you know, so I don't feel necessarily safe with them. The biggest lesson that I learned from my second sexual assault was the scariest thing. Because as black women, sometimes we do look for a savior. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking for someone to save me, save me, save me, save me. Because every time I turned around, it was something. And I just wanted someone that I could just have that would save me, right? But what I learned from the experience was like, God is the only one that can really save you. Like, God is the only man that you could be like, okay, he's here for me. After I was sexually assaulted by the white man, I'm gonna just say that broke me more than all my other traumatizing experiences. And the reason was because this one was a different ball game, and this one, it scared me more than anything because it taught me that, you know, when you have money, power, and status, oh, you can get away with just about anything. So basically the situation was this. I reported the mentor to the people who ran the program because I'm like, I can't be the first lady that he's done this to, right? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything at all. This was, and then, you know, my mom, she encouraged me. She said, you need to go file a report. And I'm like, Mom, this is a man who knows people, office officials, court officials, judges, other lawyers. You really think I'm gonna win this? Then let's put on top of that he has white privilege. And you think I have a chance? This is my truth. When I look at men like, okay, you got bad men out here, you got good men out here. You got bad women out here, you got good women out here. Predators are predators. That's the lesson that I learned from that situation. I also learned that, you know, I have to be careful with black men just as much as I have to be careful with white men, if not more. Because the scariest thing was seeing how his white privilege allowed him to not be held accountable for what he did to me and others. Because I know there are others, but I just don't know who they are. So, you know, I see some of the content that black women create on here about get you a white man. Is that really the answer? Because that wasn't my experience. At the time, I had that mentality. Oh, all I need is a white man. I'm dating out my race. I'm done with these niggas. This is why healing is important. Sometimes I think maybe if I didn't, or sometimes I think if I wasn't bitter, you know, and I wasn't, if I didn't have a hatred for black men, that maybe that wouldn't have happened to me. Sometimes I feel like that. I'm like, maybe that happened to me because I was bitter towards black men and I had like this strong hatred for them. Like sometimes I feel like that. And I tell my therapist, I'm like, do you feel like that happened to me? And she was like, Kiana, you have a hard time processing things that are out of your control. Sometimes things that happen to you just happen. And sometimes you can't always pinpoint why. And my therapist was telling me that sometimes you won't have the answer and you got to be okay with that. And so I'm healing, you guys, and I don't expect for you guys to be where I'm at, you know. I don't even like talking about this shit. Like, I go to therapy and, you know, I do it there and I leave it in the chair in the room and I go home and, you know, I go about my life. But I don't like talking about this shit because it doesn't come from a good place. Like, it comes from a place like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't like talking about it because it puts me back to that place. And it was dark and it was depressing and I was mad at everybody. And then I was so unhappy, not only with like people, but myself. Because at the time, I blamed myself. I'm like, if only I wouldn't have had maybe so much hatred for black men, I wouldn't have been naive to allow this white man to do what he did. You know, and these are conversations that I have in my therapy sessions because that's how I feel. But this is my experience. This is my truth. And I'm like, you know, I try not to blame God. I'm like, God, if you would have just let me have my job, you know, keep my 9-to-5 job, I would have never met the mentor. I went through that phase. I mean, there were so many different phases that I went through after that. But I realized I can't keep allowing these experiences to control my life. Because one thing that I learned about the situation was I could have came out of that situation saying, oh, I hate men. I'm going to go get me a woman. A lot of people don't even understand, you know, my older brother, he used to live with me. We lived with each other. I wanted him to live with me because I was scared. Everything that I had went through, I didn't want to live by myself. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people question, well, Yanni, why you live with your older brother? Why you live? I was terrified. Like, I knew if I lived with my brother, I was safe. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted to feel safe. So me living with him for 4 or 5 years, I knew I was safe. I knew that I could come in and he would be there. I could come home and he would be there. All the different things that I went through up until probably now, I did out of traumatic experiences, like having my brother live with me for so long, because I knew I would be able to date, come home, and I wouldn't have to worry about this man coming back and trying something, because if he came and picked me up, my brother was there, he knew he couldn't try it. You know, it would be like things like that, because I had some very traumatic experiences when it comes to dates too. So I would do all of these things to try to control things from happening to me, and it was out of fear. So I don't like making videos like this, because when you put yourself out here, people judge you. When you are transparent like this, people judge you, and people take what you say and they run with it, and they take it completely out of context, but it fits their thought process, whatever they took, but they didn't take the whole message. So when it comes to this video, I'm not mad at anybody. I just want the best for black women, because we get shitted on the most. Like, I done been through hell, and I'm just finally at a place where I'm happy. I'm healing. This year did test me though. It did. But I'm still here. And I feel like this year started off so shitty, but I think it's gonna finish amazingly. Like, I feel that way. And I don't know why. I just my gut is telling me that. So really, I'm just making this video to let you know that I understand you. Like, I understand the women that were making the comments that they were making. I get it, because I used to be you. 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 And I think that's why I get so mad and frustrated when I see, you know, those kind of comments, is because it takes me back to that place, which also takes me back to the traumatic experience that I had with the white man and the lawyer, and how I was going to him for information and using him as a resource that he was advertising through this mentorship program that he decided to join, and I felt like I was taken advantage of. So I think that's why I get upset, you know, or annoyed or irritated, because it takes me back to that, and I hate going back to that. That's why I don't like talking about this type of stuff, because it's like, oh, whenever you talk about it, you got to go back to that, and I don't want to go back. I like where I am now. Like, I'm happy, you know. When I look back at that type of stuff, I think of a dark place, like the darkest place that you can think of. I think of that, and I just don't like it. So, but at the same time, I think this is a growing. I think this is like a learning experience for me right now. Like, to just let it go, let it fly, and move on, and not be fixated on things that you can't control. Like, my brother moved out, you know, and I haven't even talked about it. It was scary for me. Like, I went through so many different emotions, because I had gotten comfortable with the idea, like, oh, he's here, I'm safe. I think the reason why I'm having such a hard time with this is because I can contest to this. whenever my older brother was around, no one bothered me. Like, no one tried it with me. No one bothered me. I was always protected when he was around. Like, I never had to think about being safe. He was always there, you know. And so when I went off to college, that was like my first time being by myself, like not having my brothers around me at all, not having my father around at all. So, and then that happened to me. And so after that situation, when the option became available, I'm like, you should live with me. We should live with each other. Let's help each other out. So he's moved out, and now I'm adjusting to him not being around, and it's scary. Yeah, this is my truth. I did not plan on coming on here and crying, but I think I was holding that in. Like, my brother moving out, it's very scary for me. It's like, wow, shoot. I love you guys. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from, and I was not expecting to record this video. Like, honestly, I wasn't planning on recording at all, but hopefully you take this message for what it is, and I'll see you guys in my next video.